Good morning, or whenever you watch this. So this is just a quick video I say quick, to introduce you to our MAT 103 plane trigonometry class. So I'm just going to walk you through logging into Blackboard, kind of navigating our course, and this week's stuff. So here's the Blackboard site. You can get to it just usm.blackboard.com. It should be the same login as your SOAR info. So type in your SOAR info, log in, and you got a list of courses over here on the right. You can also go up to click the course button. We are MAT 103 H005. Okay, let me put this in student mode. There we go. So this is what you will come to. The course homepage. Getting started, you can click here. Not a whole lot to it. You gotta look out for these. There's normally a table of contents on any of these links over here, and sometimes it doesn't display automatically, so you can click right there and see all this stuff in there. So you can meet me, general info about the course, disability assistance, etc., etc. We'll go back to that home. The syllabus and course documents are what we're going to spend most of our time on. And the coursework is going to be where you spend most of your time in the rest of the semester. Each week you'll log in, click on the coursework, and there will be a module, module 1, module 2, etc. With an outline for the week, notes, collaborate classroom. Actually, now I just use YouTube. There'll be a link to a YouTube video, and then a link to your assignments in my math lab. Now, all of these links, getting started, syllabus and other course documents, and coursework, those are also over here on the left. Getting started, syllabus and other course documents, coursework, how-to guides. So you can always find this stuff just by clicking over here. Okay. The other links, the My Math Lab gradebook, that's where you can view your grades throughout the semester. And Blackboard IM, not a lot of people use this anymore, but if you do, and I happen to be online, you can send me an instant message. Okay, so let's go to the syllabus and other course documents. The first thing we're going to do is just review the syllabus. So the schedule and the test information, that will come shortly. That will have all the dates for the semester. I'm working on that today. And proctoring information. When it comes time to schedule a test time, you'll have to get a proctor through USM's proctoring service. And that's the link to it right there. Okay, so let me click on our syllabus and we will run through that together. So that downloaded it for me. Oh, I've already got it open. Okay. So we're just going to run through this. You've got all my contact. You've got all my contact info up there at the top. I prefer to do all of our communication through phone if possible, just because that's the fastest way to get in touch with me. You've got my cell, so you can text me. That's normally pretty quick. Even though I'm busy, I can, I've got a nice record of it right there in front of me. I can normally take care of it as soon as I get done with my meeting or class or whatever. Skype, very rarely I guess I have people actually take me up on this, but I do have a Skype account, so we can share screens and you can show me what you're having trouble with. If you're on the Hattiesburg campus, or if you ever come here, my office is right next to Cook Library in the Math Zone. There's our website, and our class meetings. Our class modules will normally be posted Tuesday afternoons, and then any work, any assignments, we do the following Monday. Okay. So email addresses. Email is probably the worst way to get in contact with me. To make it a little bit easier, I made a an email address just for y'all. So if you email me, I have a separate notification for it that tells me it's from you guys, since I know I try to respond to y'all a little bit faster since we don't have a lot of face-to-face contact. So I don't know if you can make it out. It's cstan.mat103@gmail.com. You can also send it to my normal address, but you'll probably get lost in the shuffle for that. Oh, I don't know if I have it listed here. I'll go ahead and say it now. Blackboard Messenger is a feature that I don't typically use. Let me see here. Yeah, I logged in today. Yeah, 112 notifications, and I just checked that the other day. But I get a lot of messages from the university through there, from Blackboard. So it's really easy to get lost in that mix. So please don't use Blackboard Messenger or the Blackboard notification. Oops. There we go. So phone's the best. This Gmail account, second best. And anytime you send something there, you could also send it to my USM address. Okay. Office hours, I'm typically in my office 9 to 5 Central Time, except during my classes. I teach Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 to 10, and then 1 to 3:15. Okay. Prerequisites, skip over that. Course description, we can skip over that. Now, I spend a lot of time on these course objectives. I know that's typically not what you want to see on a syllabus. Normally when we're going to our syllabus, you don't want to think about the actual course content. But this is really everything I care about for trig. So I kind of summarized it for you. If you can do these things, you will be in really good shape. And they're not as bad as they sound. Okay, first on the list. By the end of the course, you should have intimate knowledge about the relation between the three sides and the three angles in a right triangle. Okay, so trigonometry at least started off with the study of these relationships. Any given angle, there's a clear relationship between the sides of the three sides of the triangle. And that's what our trig functions talk about, like sine, the sine of an angle, relates it to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. If you've ever heard of SOHCAHTOA, that's what this is talking about. Okay. So that is essentially just memorizing your trig definitions and being really comfortable with them. Second is fluency in solving right triangles. You should be able to find all three sides and all three angles, provided you're given enough information about the triangle. Okay. Probably the most scary sounding one, you need to know the exact trig function values of sine, cosine, tangent of all of our standard angles, 0, 30, 45, 60, and 90 degrees. That sounds complicated. I'm going to show you in one of our lectures a very simple way to remember this. Every test, we're going to have a lot of questions that ask for the exact trig function values. And that means not a decimal, no never-ending string of decimals, an exact value, like square root of 2 over 3. That's an exact value. But square root of 2, if you were to actually calculate that, that's a never-ending decimal. You would have to round it at some point, and that would give you an approximation. So I'll kind of ramble on about that later. The difference between exact and approximate when it comes to trig functions. So, after we've talked about right triangles, we're going to talk about taking these right triangles and putting them into your standard coordinate plane, the one you dealt with in algebra. You know, you've got your x-axis and your y-axis. What we do is we put our triangles in that plane. Not nearly as complicated as it sounds, and the same rules apply. All these relationships between the three sides and the three angles of a triangle, they still apply here. This is just a generalization of that, or an abstraction of that. We're going to talk about graphing. It's a big part of trig. I want you to have an intimate knowledge of these graphs, sine, cosine, and tangent. Really sine and cosine. People are very interested in these. They have a lot of applications in physics, engineering, sound engineering. Finding the nodes, finding the period, finding the amplitude, finding the phase shift. I don't know if you've ever heard those words, but they're all really important for these applications. And you can see this graphically, so we'll talk about that. Again, I know a lot of people aren't big fans of graphing. Fortunately, in this class, it's super simple. It's really just sine and cosine, a little bit of tangent. Excuse me. And that's that. Yeah, ability to solve cool application problems involving those graphs. So yeah, I just listed all those. Okay. Now another huge topic in trig is these trig identities. And there are a ton of them. There's the half angle formulas, the double angle formulas, the Pythagorean identities. There are a ton of these things. And I'm not going to make you memorize them all, but you need to be able to work with those half angle and double angle formulas. If you flip to the back of your book, there's just a huge list. Again, I'm not going to make you memorize this, but you got to be comfortable with them. You got to understand what they do. So why do we do that? Why do you need to be familiar with that? Because in calculus, I'm sure there are other reasons, but I always think of calculus for this. You need to be able to take trig functions and rewrite them. You got to rearrange them and play with them a little bit to get them in more useful forms to do calculus. So we use trig identities to do that. So I've got a little example for you. Cosine of x divided by 1 minus sine of x. We apply all our trig identities, and we can rewrite this in this form, which may not look much nicer, but this is actually something that can be easier to work with. You can actually then split this up into two fractions that can make integrating a lot easier, can make taking the derivative easier. So much nicer to work with. So that's why, one of the big reasons we need to be familiar with these trig identities. If you ever take differential equations, there are also some really nice tricks using these trig identities. Okay, law of sines and cosines. We do this almost at the very end of the semester. We take everything we've talked about with 90-degree right triangles, and we can apply them to any triangles using the law of sines and cosines. So these are for triangles that maybe don't have a 90-degree angle anywhere. They also work for 90-degree angles, but they'll work for any other triangle too. So cool stuff. And then my favorite part, we're going to do some stuff with physics. Physics shouldn't be scary for you. We're going to talk about probably the most important thing you could know going into physics, breaking down a vector into its components using trig functions. We're gonna actually do some simple physics problems. They're super easy using these vector components. We're gonna talk about what vectors are, and then we're gonna talk a lot about how this stuff kind of applies to circles. So we can talk about like a point on the edge of a circle, something moving around in a circle like a gear or a bicycle. We want to talk about the position of that object, the speed of it, the linear speed, the angular speed, and we also talk about like sets of gears. Where's my camera? There we go. So if like I have two gears, as one turns, the other turns as well. Same, a bicycle. You turn one gear and it turns the tire. These are all things that we can relate using some aspects of our course material. Okay. Whew. I know this is taking long. It's longer than I thought, but I guess you can always pause it, come back. I just want to make sure I hit everything. My instructional strategies, I already kind of walked through this. Everything is in the coursework section of Blackboard, broken down by module, and you'll have one module per week. And it'll have all that stuff, summary of the content, list of assignments, a link to my YouTube video, a copy of the notes, and then a link to your assignments. Course communication, again, I already went through all this. If you need to contact me, call or text, Skype or Blackboard IM, or preferably this email address. Okay. Oh, this is a good point. I always forget to say this. When you're working in your assignment, there should be a button beside every problem that says Ask My Instructor. If you click that, it will open up your email, and it will also send me a link to the problem you're working on. So you can say, I'm doing this problem, I keep getting this answer, they're getting this answer, what am I doing wrong? And I can just click on it and see just what you're doing. So if you have questions about the homework, that's a great tool for me, just because it makes it so much easier to see what you're doing. Okay. Texts and supplies, you can get the access code for My Math Lab along with your textbook, or you can just buy the access code. If you do that, there's a digital copy of the textbook within My Math Lab. So it's really up to you. Do you prefer having a paper textbook, or are you okay with just having one online? Calculator should be a non-graphing calculator. Don't practice with a graphing calculator because you won't be able to use it at your test. The one I like is the TI-30XS Multiview. Do I have one with me? Nope. I was going to show you what it looked like. Okay. Class participation. Students are required to be active professional participants in the teaching and learning process. What I mean by that is be professional about this. If you're emailing me each week, or if I see that you're logging in every week on the very last day to do your assignments, that's not really a professional way to go about things. You need to be working on this throughout the week for a lot of reasons. I've got some of them here listed. We've just got a lot to cover. If you're waiting to the last minute and you run out of time and you don't get to complete it, I don't want to see a ton of emails that say like, hey, I just ran out of time, or my computer crashed. Well, if you waited till 10 o'clock the night it was due and your computer crashed, I don't have the most sympathy. I know I sound like a jerk right now. There's normally not a problem. It's just if it happens consistently, then we're gonna have to talk about it. I mean, things happen. Everyone has weeks where they're off. You just can't do this every week. You can't email me every week and tell me, something happened at the last minute, and I'd put off my work to the last minute. Please give me an extension. Okay. Of course, yeah, you can't really learn this. It's not sufficient to do it all one day per week. But probably the most important reason, I can't help everyone. We've got 55 people in this class, 60. I can't help everyone on that due date. So if you need help with something, you're gonna have to contact me earlier in the week. Okay. So evaluation criteria. It's all listed here, all the kind of details about it. I'll just go down to the little diagram here. We're going to have 2 normal tests at 20% of your grade each. Your final exam is going to be comprehensive, and it's worth twice as much, it's worth 40% of your grade. Also, while we're talking about tests, if it helps, at the end of the semester, I'll replace your lowest test score with your exam score. So that can make a big difference. If something goes wrong, you can still learn this stuff by the end of the semester, and not have it affect your grade as negatively. Okay, homework. We already talked about homework a little bit. Quizzes and activities. We will have, very rarely, we'll have some quizzes in my math lab. I also include your watching of videos. Blackboard tracks this. It also, my math lab tracks the video and text assignments within my math lab. Quizzes and other activities. I didn't include the new one. Maybe I'll have to add that. I was thinking I'd like to do a project of some kind this semester. I know it's crazy, but I actually use trig when I like to build stuff like woodworking and whatnot. I'll use trig, to try to figure out my angles. I know we got a lot of construction engineering folk in here in this class. So if you've ever done any kind of roofing, you've probably dealt with some angles like this. So I think it'd be kind of fun to have a project like that. I guess technically that would qualify to submit a copy or picture of your notes or brief summary of the material for the week. Maybe one week I'll just give you that, give you a little project to do, just some application of trig to your life. I don't know. Let me know if that's something you're kind of interested in. You can always tell me. We can kind of flesh it out over the semester. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Okay. What else? 10-point grading scale. And also I'll drop your 3 lowest homework assignments at the end of the semester. Okay. Proctor test. All tests are proctored. I've already talked about this. Go through the USM's website for dealing with proctoring. Late assignments. If you have some serious event, we've got this Office of Student Ombudsman Services that can verify any documentation you have of whatever happened. And then they'll email me to let me know, and we can extend whatever assignments you have. That's really, I guess, if you have something really questionable going on or something that's hard to verify. A lot of times if you just send me a copy or a picture of your documentation, that's fine. Okay. Also, if you missed the deadline, you can still work on your assignments for partial credit. Now, the old method of doing it was to just assign 50% credit. You lose half your credit the next day. I've got a new tool that's going to allow me to take off just 10% per day. So if you're a day late, you could still get 90% credit. If you're 2 days late, you can still get 80%. I think that will actually do that. I'm going to have to update this. Okay. Academic honesty. I don't know that I've had any real problems with that. I did have one guy who was trying to get a proctor. He tried to get his friend to proctor for him. And of course, the LEC found out about it, and he got I guess, what do you call it, an XF grade? Yeah. So if you get caught doing any kind of cheating, you'll get an XF grade, which will go on your transcript permanently. It can't be removed. With the note, failure due to academic misconduct. So definitely don't put that on your record. There shouldn't be any reason to cheat in this class. I don't think you'll have too much trouble with it. And then finally, the technology requirements. Whew. This is just a list the LEC gave me. So you can read through that if you're having any trouble with your hardware or software. Okay. So I guess that's it. Thank you for bearing with me if you made it this long. And I will post. So this is going to be contained in Module 0. I guess you would know that if you found it. And our first actual My Math Lab assignments will be next week. Or next Tuesday, I'll post those in Module 1. So, thanks. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.